Now, before we get into the call, I just wanted to introduce Emily to our viewers. Emily is a yoga teacher first and foremost, and she has a business called Babykaleyogi. She teaches yoga all over the world, primarily Canada, India, Bali, and I'm very honoured to have her in my being a joint facilitator on our mid-year detox reset retreat. And Emily has an incredible story when she was in a swimming pool and died at the age of 11 and crossed into the spirit world, and ever since then has been psychic. So she teaches intuitive yoga, and she also does help heal and work with people on a spiritual level healing. So quite a unique individual. So I'm super excited to have her on the call and have her with me doing our retreat together in May, which I can share more details about later on in the call. But we really wanted to talk about today the 3 reasons why we use food to self-medicate and why we do it and how we can maybe change up those not so healthy habits. And I know that we both have this experience of food, and obviously you will experience it tomorrow, no doubt, when you're fasting, of how much we are addicted to food when we can't actually have access to food, for example, through a fast. You really do become quite aware of how addicted you are to foods. And I know you have some really interesting thoughts on how foods also, we use them to deal with trauma. And we use it to block emotion. And I know that we had that great chat the other day talking about how the chakras in your body, specific chakras, can store like sexual abuse and other sorts of trauma, which then can relate to or play out as emotional eating. So would you like to share a little bit more about that with us, Em?
Sure. Well, I suppose the main thing is when you start doing detoxing and fasting, you start to become more body conscious, and you start to become more aware of where you're in yoga classes that people don't actually know where they're feeling anything or where there's hurting. And it doesn't necessarily have to be hurting. And this also comes down to food and using comfort foods that actually mask any of these feelings. So imagine if we took away eating through detoxing and fasting and other meditation methods, etc., and we'll be able to be really intuitive with our own bodies and have a healing. For example, a sound healing that I had yesterday, my throat chakra was vibrating after it. And if I sit back and I think about that and I meditate on that, and the foods that I'd been attracted to over the last few days, cucumbers, very cooling foods from my throat chakra, blueberries, things like that, that are really good for a throat chakra diet. So digging even deeper after you've detoxed and fasted.
Yeah.
I've very rarely found anybody who I've worked with that has a perfect flow. There's always generally something that's out, and it can even be a regional thing as well. I find, for example, Italy, they generally don't have throat chakra issues, or Australia. However, they have a lot of sacral issues in India because they have a lot of trauma in that area with arranged marriages. They have throat chakra issues in Canada, for example, where they feel it really challenging to speak up about things. So this starts to become really apparent as well when you start to tune into your body and what you need at that time. And imagine getting yourself to a space, and you can do it very quickly after a detox. Get to a place where you actually know what triggers you, know what food to heal yourself and heal your energetic blocks. And then you're on this journey where you can diagnose yourself really quickly, and you can diagnose illnesses, and you can diagnose things before they manifest much nastier.
Yeah, that's super exciting, Em, and it's something that I definitely know it is to be true, because I've obviously gone through that experience myself when I was going through healing with systemic candida and addicted to wheat, meat, and dairy, and very numbed out emotionally, and probably all my chakras are probably very shut down. and then going through the healing journey and getting detoxing and going, plant-based, it really does, the journey really does allow you to become an intuitive eater and start to make food choices that really do serve you in the best possible way. And so what you're talking about is it's just taking it one step further, is actually understanding what foods are good for your chakras, and and also being more energetically in tune with them, so you can sort of feel if there's something that needs attention there.
I mean, we've touched on vibrational foods and the highest vibrational and the lowest vibrational.
Yeah.
And it's important to also not get too dogmatic when you're going through this journey, because you don't want to replace a food addiction with an addiction of controlling food.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to keep this neutral mind, and in Kundalini we talk about having a neutral mind. And it's a neutral heart and a neutral mind and a neutral state. You know, when you go to an ecstatic dance party and you just want to hug everyone afterwards, that's your heart getting into an ecstatic state. It's a beautiful place to be, but you can't be ever. And it's the same with the food, compensating our be there all the time, and then we start chasing this dragon.
Absolutely.
And it's not necessarily a place that we want to be in ever. You want to keep it very neutral, and you want to keep it, we don't talk about balance, we talk about the 80-20. And I want to go further in saying, okay, you do this fast and you get up. It's a bit like New Year's Eve. Speaking of Bali's New Year's Eve, you get, oh, right, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this. And this is actually the start of the astrological calendar as well on March 21st. So we're like, I'm going to start again. I can start the year again. And you start so gung-ho, but what happens is you lose steam, and you can, as I said, you can become very dogmatic and very addictive in behavior about your food. And so it's finding that balance and finding what works for you and finding what triggers you. I know what triggers me. And anyone who knows me, that, if I say I'm eating a cheesecake and I pick a raw food, healthy cheesecake, but for me it's still a trigger, and I'm hitting that cheesecake for a reason. Am I having it because I want a little treat, or am I having it because I'm trying to comfort eat and heal something that should be really healed in a different manner as opposed to using food? Now, food can be healing, of course, but why are you gravitating toward that one particular thing at that time? And so that's also dealing with the nervous system and what our brain flicks to when we're under stress and duress. And especially on retreat, these things that you just remember, and you can call on me specifically if it's a meditation that you're stuck with. And there's meditations for everything, but especially the ones for addictions are really powerful. I mean, these are being studied at the Mayo Clinic right now. They're having huge breakthroughs with a certain kriya that we do, which is like a yoga practice in Alzheimer's. Really big breakthroughs with meditation. You're seeing it all over the news. But to actually have the tools to do it and to keep up a discipline of doing it every day is really challenging. I know people who have lost a lot of weight and they're craving 3:30 time. Instead of going for a chocolate bar, they do a quick meditation and they completely forget about the chocolate bar. I mean, it's so groundbreaking when you think about it, how you can use all of these tools to find to then shift yourself into a completely different lifestyle.
I love that. I love that, Em, because it is interesting when you go through the journey and you have the tools, and you have, you fast and you've got these tools, and you've worked with amazing people like yourself, and and you have a deeper understanding of all the things that you think you need when it comes to food and comfort eating, and having these external things to grab onto when we're starting to feel emotions that don't feel so good for us. It's actually a false belief. It really isn't true that we really need these foods, is it? It's really just you're breaking down these false beliefs that you've created, that you buy into and believe, and then you start to realize that you can actually you have the power. It's all within you to make healthier choices and to do amazing meditations to switch up the way that you react to wanting to comfort eat.
I think it's really important also to note that you have to really adapt this to yourself as well and your own lifestyle. And when you start to go on Google and you start to diagnose and grab cookbooks and get on fat diets. That I was talking to Juicing yesterday, who was saying it's really dangerous. 100% agree with that. If you're a dosha, like getting into Ayurvedic terms now, that pitta, which is all fire, you can actually burn through that pretty quickly. I mean, for example, there's only three. There's vata, pitta, and kapha, but a pitta can have a full meal and do a yoga class and not have any problems.
Yes.
There's the other journeys that we'll take when we're on retreat, is we get to figure all this out, and then it all starts to click like a puzzle, and you can adapt everything to your own lifestyle. And you just don't get that when you're Googling, because you don't have the information about your particular needs, and everybody has injuries and everybody has issues, and they have their own different pains and their own journey.
Absolutely.
And it's important to really target and diagnose for you, because if you're nursing, or if you're breastfeeding, or you're getting up at 3 a.m, you need to adapt your juice fast and your fasting schedule and your lifestyle with raw food to the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Whether you're adapting it to families or extended families who live with you, it's a very personal journey.
Yeah.
And that's why, going on a retreat completely changes your life. It changes our life when we host.
Yeah, it's so true.
And I know that every time I've hosted or co-hosted and co-facilitated, I've just been so incredibly empowered by people's journeys and how far they come. And it's really, you need a really supportive person behind you who has no judgment and has been there and struggles, and as you and I both struggle every single day with the journey. And it's just not that one quick fix. It's a lifetime, and having that support behind you when you go through it is just absolutely vital.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a beautiful journey to witness, to be a witness to a person's transformation is really incredibly special. And to see them take back the power that they have within themselves, just finding it again and knowing that they have all the tools and the knowledge to be able to continue that upgrade in the journey when they get home. And yeah, it's amazing being a facilitator on retreat as well, because we go through the journey as much as they do, and it's a very beautiful supportive space to be in. For each other. There's no sort of separation when it comes to doing retreat. Now, I had 3 things that I thought were really interesting for comfort eating, and I do believe probably 3 of the biggest things. And the first one is that we're conditioned from a very young age to be pacified with certain foods. Like, for example, not just, to make us quiet or, to do anything, sort of bad, but, as a reward system, and also I remember for me, my thing was, and this was kind of healthy, but my mum would make these really soft boiled eggs when I was sick, and she'd put them on she'd mash them up on toast with salt and pepper. And so whenever I wasn't feeling when I was feeling a bit down, or when I'm later on at a later age, I wanted to nurture myself, I'd always do these soft boiled eggs, because it reminded me of when I was looked after as a child. So I think a lot of us have this conditioning as a young age, when it could be like chicken soup, or it could be maybe you were given a chocolate bar if you were good, so I think that when we're we associate that with being taken care of, and so when we get older, that food that becomes a trigger for comfort eating. So I thought that was super interesting. So it's happening from a very young age. And then so also what happens then, these habits start to become unconscious. We start to almost eat completely unaware of what we're actually doing, almost a little bit disengaged from the whole process, like what you said, with what we'll teach on retreat, is actually becoming aware of those triggers and becoming aware of the sensations, and then choosing to replacing that bad habit with something good. So, and then the second one, which is really interesting, I've been reading a lot about lately because I'm about to launch my gut healing program, is the bacteria in your gut drives your food triggers and cravings. So, and everyone again is unique, right? So And barley, you'll be exposed to different types of bacteria on the food. So your gut biome is going to be different to mine. And then depending on what your mum was like when she gave birth to you and whether you were breastfed or not, will determine the gut bacteria that's inhabiting your gut. If you've been on antibiotics, studies have now shown that your bacteria will never fully recover from a dose of antibiotics. So your gut bacteria might be there, but they're not going to be the same as they were before. So that's also going to trigger how your body is going to respond to foods, how it's going to digest it, what other bacteria are going to breed off that food. Is it going to be pathogenic? You know, are the good bacteria that work with this symbiotic bacteria in your body already, are they going to thrive? So there's a whole big conversation around that happening as well. And there's a great guy called Chris Kresser, if you want to check him out, and he's doing some amazing studies. And he's now changing his diet based on what his gut bacteria need to thrive. So there's no, paleo, there's no keto. It's about what kind of food do I need to eat to feed my good bacteria so that I stay healthy and don't crave certain foods and don't go down that, junk food route. So I thought that was super interesting. And then, of course, the third one is our brains are hardwired for pleasure. Funny that, which is why you get addicted to, not only foods, but ecstatic dance, yoga. Yeah, I mean, working out at the gym, there's these gym junkies and, people that talk about getting on the runner's high when they're running. So our brains are hardwired for pleasure. And so if we're taking in chocolate, for example, which, everybody loves chocolate, it's triggering the dopamine receptors in the brain. Chocolate has also all the feel-good love hormones. So we kind of feel all loved up when we have that chocolate. So, cheese triggers opiate receptors in the brain. So it's crazy. And wheat and dairy, and meat are also quite addictive. And another thing that I talk about a lot as well, when people start to get on a plant-based journey with me, when they sort of, they have these blocks of, oh no, I can't do this plant-based eating because I have to be raw vegan, or I have to give up my steak, and or my coffee or whatever it may be. And one of the reasons they find this so hard is that all these foods are acidic, and acidic foods, when they are in your body, drop the pH of your body clearly. So it's acidic, on the pH scales below sort of 7.2 and above 7.2 is alkaline. Can of Coke is 2, extremely acidic. But when you're having these things like steak and coffee, because it's extremely acidic, the body needs to buffer the acidity by flooding it with alkaline minerals. So you kind of get this alkaline high afterwards. And that is why you want to repeat that behavior again, because you're getting this false alkaline high, which, you kind of feel good and satiated afterwards, and you want that fix again. It's almost like the sugar highs and lows. It's a similar thing with acid alkaline. And so the beauty about getting off acidic foods and onto more alkaline foods naturally, with plant-based eating, is that because you are taking in, 80% alkaline foods every day, your body starts to become naturally high every day with being alkaline and being 7.2 on the pH scale, which is what our bodies need to be healthy. And then all those cravings for the junk, like the meat and the coffee and the chocolate, goes away. It naturally falls away. So that is one of the beautiful things about, getting on that journey with raw vegan foods. 3 things that I would recommend as how to change these comfort eatings is to have healthy go-to. Start swapping out the dairy, meat and wheat for healthier options. Maybe even doing the meditation, like you said, Em, like practicing a meditation. And then addressing your gut issues. If you find that, you're gassy and bloated and you're craving certain foods, it's probably a gut issue and bacteria. And then the third one is fermented foods. Fermented foods are amazing to kill cravings. So if anybody wants to get on and do to my website or sign up, there is going to be, a ton of fermented food recipes being shared very soon. And then, of course, couldn't forget detox. Detox is huge. Juice fasting is massive for a reset. Like, on a fast, any of those cravings, any of those addictions, anything that we've been stuffing down emotionally with food, comes up to be released. Would you agree, Em? Like it's like once you go through that journey of just
Absolutely.
all purging and being released, it's like there is no cravings. There is no need to feel like you need to comfort eat.
There's so much that you can do, and so many things that I don't know if you've heard about this, but I tell people to take a cold shower, resets the nervous system and the brain. If you're feeling stressed out, if you throw a child who's having a tantrum in a cold swimming pool or under the tap, it resets them really quickly. And you can do that when you're having a food craving as well. You just can't stop thinking about that chocolate. And
Yeah.
I do think that something does happen when you're pregnant, though, because I remember I used to try and curb my cravings, and I would get at 2:00 in the morning at the 7-Eleven getting the barbecue chips. I mean, I think there's certain times when
you need to do it.
One child, not the other. I mean, ironically, that child is a healthy eater, and the other one's unhealthy that I was healthy for when pregnant. But there's just sometimes, but really, there are so many different techniques that you can do to shift it, and it shifts really, really quickly. And I agree with you about the replacement food. I mean, I make these raw protein balls with so many yummy things like cow nips and coconut, and they're different every time, but just having them in the fridge, and when I get that sugar craving, eating one of those and being completely satisfied in my brain with the dopamine levels, and I'm not hungry. There's so many things that are missing because we are conditioned to have those 3 meals a day, which was per convenience, per the industrial age, and shifting out of that habitual ingraining with all things really in life is really, really challenging. And I think that food is huge. I mean, you're talking about being a child and giving rewards. I remember my mum used to say I didn't have to go to school when I had my moon cycle or my period. So I would stay at home and make scones. So now every time I get my period, I think about scones. I mean, here in Bali, we don't have an oven, but it's really good. I don't even really enjoy, but now I can see a batch of scones and smell them and still have that feeling and that memory, and I feel like I'm eating them. I know what they taste like.
Yeah.
Would I eat them now? No way.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I agree.
I would get really sick.
Yes.
Being on a clean journey would be really sick if I ate something like that right now.
Totally.
And also recognizing that these so-called foods are healthy. It's marketing, and it's a game that we all have to be really aware of. If you go into the health section at Coles, for example, in Australia, if you looked on the back of those packets, I remember once I was really craving, I needed to eat actually, and I was in between meals, and I was at a Coles recently, and nothing in that health section was
healthy.
it all had cane sugar.
Yes.
And nothing, there was even a chocolate blueberries at the end of the aisle. Wow, amazing. Amazing snack.
Yeah.
But to kind of shift out of that mindset of, no, I need to go to the packaged goods, which are also very expensive, and then say, wow, the $3 blueberries, a whole punnet, that's going to be amazing on so many levels, with the antioxidants, for my throat chakra, all sorts of things, the reasons why those blueberries are going to be amazing. But it's just having that food in your fridge on standby and being really pedantic about your shopping list at the start of the week, what meals you're going to prepare. I think that is a savior. If you have that good food in front of you at all times, I just made up a big batch of quinoa. I've got nuts on standby everywhere.
Yes.
Having good food on standby is so essential. Otherwise, you will go for junk.
Absolutely.
And you might think it's healthy, but it's not.
Absolutely. I have the same thing going on at home as well, Em, and I think this is a great tip for guys listening to the call, because I know if I have not got a healthy sweet treat in the freezer to grab when I have that craving, or I know I'm going shopping at the supermarket and I haven't eaten, because if I do go to that supermarket and I haven't eaten something healthy beforehand, and that I'm not satiated with, for example, like, really important to include good quality proteins and good fats in your snacks, or like little healthy treats like your bliss balls, and I do like a little chocolate thing with I just make it with coconut oil, shredded coconut and cacao and some sweetener. And they're like little kind of haystack macaroon things. And they're just, little bite-sized pieces. And then, you can add in chopped nuts and things as well. But like that goes in the mouth before I go shopping, because if I don't, I will end up down that chocolate aisle and scoffing on a shitty Snickers bar and while I'm shopping. I just know my habits. So I know if I'm going to be, getting into that position where I could be tempted, I have to have something healthy on standby, like in the bag or in the freezer before I go out. Maybe it's at work, so that you're not going to fall into that trap. And there was also something else I wanted to say.
And it just takes about an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah.
Each week, if you have it ready and
to pre-make.
Working.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not. Or you can grab hummus, have hummus in the fridge, just anything. It's all about distraction. That's what we're gearing toward, distracting, because because we are going to crave it. It's going to be there. If it's not daily, it's every couple of days. So you have to be ready for the attack.
Yeah, and it's also something that's really beautiful to witness and to be aware of too when you do start fasting. Very, very common is this fear of going without food. Again, another false belief, and a habitual thing. And generally, I find this, as well as probably everybody else, the first few days is really hard because you're used to getting your breakfast, and your breakfast cereal is also habitual and addictive, more than likely. And so when you're not getting that, there's this feeling of a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of resentment, a bit of begrudging, kind of, it's kind of almost like going to ruin your day kind of feeling. But then you'll find that, after sort of day 3, probably day 2 or even day 3, as you start to introduce these new habits of having juices and smoothies in the morning, everything changes, and then you start looking forward to having a juice and smoothie. So it really is an interesting observation to realize that, a lot of the things that we think we need, we actually don't, especially the addictive ones. And I also had a really good idea, Em. So when we do retreat, anytime anyone gets a craving, it's mandatory they jump in the pool at the resort. What do you think?
Absolutely. It will absolutely, it will shift. It also cleanses your aura, cleanses your subconscious of negative thoughts.
Yes.
And it's been proven to the cold shower. Take the cold shower.
Yeah, totally. And so I know we've only got 5 more minutes to wrap up. So before we do, I wanted to offer the people on the call, the people listening to the recording, the opportunity to, if they do decide to join retreat, there is a 10% discount. This is the 17th to the 24th of May in Ubud, Bali, with a beautiful resort with a beautiful swimming pool, which is heated, I think. Or actually, it's tropical. It's a tropical, it's a beautiful setting, so you're not going to need to worry about it being too cold. But it's 8 days. It's going to be 5 days of juice fasting. We're going to go deep onto detox. We're going to kill those cravings. We're going to reset you with new healthy habits. And then we're going to go 3 days of raw vegan food. So it's a complete cellular reset on absolutely every level. Em's going to be there doing her magic with incredible yoga, lots of workshops on how to, work with your chakras, how to clear your energy, how to replace old habits with new habits in terms of working energetically. And I'll be doing more of the food component and working with you on a level of how to detox strategies that we use, what detox is about, what you need to be healthy, what it takes to be healthy, and how to make beautiful raw vegan food, and how to continue your journey when you get home. So much more than that, though. There's so much more. Super excited about this one, but there's a 10% discount if you guys want to join. I'll pop the code in the chat box, and also give you the link right now so you can go check it out on the website. And also, Em is going to be offering the first 5 people as well the opportunity to work one-on-one with her on retreat. And I know you have some amazing things on offer for the lucky 5. Can you tell me a bit more about what you're going to be offering them, Em?
Sure, absolutely. I just wanted to say as well that a lot of my clients are, that they're a little bit demanding. So I just want people to be confident in the fact that I've seen it all. That's what I'm saying. And everybody's the same. Everybody has the same sort of like food and health issues and heart. So what I'll be offering is I'll do an intuitive reading. I'm going to also do your astrology chart. So that's your rising sun, and where all your houses are, because this is also important for food, why you are swaying towards certain foods or certain behavioural patterns. I'll be doing that. I'll be doing an Ayurvedic reading with you as well, just to figure out which dosha you are, so you can then take that when you're purchasing food, and that will become more apparent when you're in retreat. Also, everybody has their own anatomical makeup. No one's the same. And a lot of us who go to yoga classes find a lot of postures challenging. So I will go through that with each of these 5 people and also work out a program that suits them and what they should be doing and they should be avoiding. Also, of course, going through their chakras. And it's pretty easy for me. I can do a reading really quickly and I figure out upon 2 minutes of meeting someone where their blockages are. And it's just because I'm really tuned into what's happening, and it's not like I've got people talking to me and giving me messages like Abraham. It's just I just beeline and I know straight away. And I've never had a person ever say to me that I'm wrong. I always know. And also just creating that really one-on-one personal relationship. If you know what, you can call me at any time of the day with anything. Within reason, of course, but there are times when we feel like we can't reach out, and it's important that that once somebody has your makeup, and every yoga teacher, when they do one-on-ones, they never forget that client. So it's something that you'll have for life, and it's something that you take into every single class that you go to, and it's really important to have that knowledge of your own anatomy, your own energetic body.
Absolutely. And also how you're built, right? We're not all built the same way. Some people can get into postures a lot easier than others because they might have longer arms or, like a more flexible, torso. So it's all of that as well, which I find super interesting. And this is another thing I just want to quickly talk about too, is just breaking down this myth that you need to be a yogini or some crazy bendy person to be able to do a yoga class. It's the complete opposite, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is just so crucial to moving the body in any way.
Yeah, those people have extra vertebra. Yeah, they have an extra vertebra in their back. So they have an L6. So, when you start to really get to know your shape and body, and I can take people through one yoga class and I can know their range of movement in every single part of their body, just from the knowledge that I've gained from my teachers and how to determine that.
Yeah.
And I think that then gives you a bigger voice. So when you go into a class in the future and the teacher's asking you to bend in Warrior One and you would have to break your pelvis, these are things that you can then use that language and take that into the class, and the teacher will back off and leave you alone. So it's also very empowering when you have those one-on-one private classes that you really get in tune with your body, and you can just go into child's pose when this is coming up in a class or not, because a lot of us get injured in yoga because we feel like we have to compete and keep up with the person next to us. And once you dismiss that, and it's a really interesting point you brought up about body sizes and, coming to terms with the size that you are. I'm not a size 0 and I was breatharian for a year and a half and my weight didn't change. And what that taught me was that this is the size I am and I have to work with this body. And when you become, it's not that I'm always accepting, but when you become accepting of your size and you start to really work with it, it can be life-changing as well. So we're not saying, come on, detox. Of course you will shed, especially if you haven't done the journey before. You are going to shed. There's no doubt about it. And also you're going to be having treatments. You're going to have fascia stimulated. You're going to be doing yoga. Your body's going to be limber. You'll probably grow 1.5 inches from doing yoga every single day for 8
Beautiful.
days.
What a bonus.
These will happen, definitely.
Yeah.
But getting rid of those expectations and really, really healing from the inside, and then the outside will just flow, and all of a sudden everyone will notice, and you'll notice, and it'll be a happier place.
Yeah, and it's such a beautiful thing to be able to do on retreat, you know, all these things that we try and do for ourselves and try and, you know, break that addictive cycle or get off, you know, the unhealthy foods and make changes. It's really hard to do in everyday life, you know, when we're so distracted, we're so in our routine, you know, there's stress. So just taking a week or 8 days in our case out of your year and giving yourself that gift of putting your health first to make the changes that you need to really, truly, successfully upgrade in every single way is for me, it's the most, it's a little intense, but it's the best way and the only way that you can do it sometimes when our lives are so crazy in the outside. So yeah, I think it's crucial in this day and age to really, you know, think about honoring your body in some way like that every year for at least a week. You know, and once you get on this juice fasting journey and you have the confidence to be able to do it and you know how good you feel afterwards, it's so easy to be able to incorporate that to every quarter at home, you know, just doing a little basic fast. You can even just do 1 day fast or a 2 or 3 day fast to really start to reap the benefits. Studies have shown that just 3 days of fasting is enough to rebuild the entire immune system. It's so incredibly powerful. So that is what this retreat experience is going to give you.
You'll have group energy, you'll have group support, and that's so important when you're going through this process. You're not alone.
Absolutely. And we'll have a Facebook group for the group as well. That'll be private for us to be able to continue supporting one another and nurturing one another even after retreat is over. So it'll be a really beautiful place to be sharing as well and cheering each other on after retreat's over. And I just wanted to also let you guys know that the M's one-on-one offer and our special price that's currently on offer right now for retreat is going to be wrapping up. We're going to end that offer and close the doors on that offer by Friday of next week. I think it might even be a bit earlier than that. I have to actually just check the dates with my business coach, but we're going to be closing the offer very, very soon. So if you do want to get on and you are thinking about joining, I would invite you to maybe even just drop me an email and just say, hey, I'm really interested. Because we know if you wanted to, you could grab all of those amazing offers. But, you know, maybe you just want to get on a payment plan, we can do that too. And all you need to do then is put a 20% deposit down. So you can just join super easy and just pay off, you know, whatever suits your budget. Could be weekly, fortnightly, monthly. Or, jump on that link and you can also book in and pay in full with the 10% discount before the offer ends. Because I think it's going to be earlier than Friday. I think it might even be like midweek. Yeah. So let's just say midweek so that you guys don't miss out.
Yeah.
So
if it's a yes, then everything will flow. Trust me, you know, when people do trainings or they do anything to benefit their health, when they make their decision of yes, the money will come. There'll be a tax return. There'll be, you know, something you didn't know, and you'll just you realize this is what I'm supposed to do. It's a definite yes.
Yeah, that's so true. And also just checking in with your body and asking the body, what does the body need? You know, what is it? Do you want to go on retreat? Is it a yes? And then, like you say, everything else will fall into place. You know, the money will come, you'll find a way. You know, there'll be someone available to look after the kids, whatever it may be, to help you, support you on your healing journey so you can really be the best version of you in life. Okay, so with that said, we have to wrap in because I know you need to go and prepare for Nippy and I need to go. We're losing the light here. It's sunset in Sydney. Thank you so much, Em. It's so beautiful to chat to you. You're such a wealth of knowledge. And for everyone else on the call, and I'll also be sending a recording out so you guys can also get this. I know some of you couldn't make it tonight. Friday night's a bit of a crazy one, but anyway, this is the only chance we had. Lots of love to you all and to you, Em, and I'll speak to you guys very soon. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks, Judy.